All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Paul Addis. I'm a librarian at the Coos Bay Public Library. And tonight I have my community partner, Tim Bolster at the Coos Head Food Co-op and Alan Bartle behind the camera. They're in the kitchen. And tonight we have Kelli Bosak, who's also our community yoga instructor at the library. So we're really excited to see Kelli in the kitchen at the co-op teaching a different class. And I will be recording. As I said earlier, I take out your names, but not your video. So if you want to mute your video, you can. But we'd rather see you cooking along on our YouTube channel if you don't mind. And if you have any questions, feel free to respectfully unmute and ask, or you can put them in chat, and I'll feed them to the cooks. With that, it's all yours, Kelli. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Good evening, everyone. As you're aware, we're making maple mustard tempeh bowls. And so the first thing that we're going to get started, if you want to make rice with your dish, depending on how you cook rice, we're going to show how to start making brown rice on the stove. But if you at home boil your rice on the stove, you can also use a rice cooker, an Instapot, if that's how you make your rice too. Or if you're choosing not to add rice to the recipe, that's okay. So you can just hold tight and we'll move to the next thing after that. So Tim's gonna lead us through making the brown rice.
Rice, okay. Well, so usually it's an Instapot to make rice, but we're gonna make it on the stove top. So you might have your own way of making rice, go for it if you do, but I'm going to, so the ratio for rice, water to rice is 2 to 1. So 2 cups of water for 1 cup of rice. And I'm doing brown rice. The ratio is the same for white rice, 2 to 1, okay? So I'm gonna do, I think I'll do a cup of brown rice.
Yeah, and that should be enough for this recipe, for the amount of people that this recipe is making for.
Okay, cup of brown rice. So I'm gonna do 2 cups of water. And a lot of recipes will usually say you can add like a tablespoon of olive oil or a pinch of salt or something. That's totally up to you. We're not gonna do that. We're just going with the water.
This is going in a pan.
Yeah, but not yet.
So I got 2 cups of water, 1 cup of rice. Sometimes, honestly, I'll splash like an extra tablespoon of water in there or something just to kind of like, sometimes I find it can cook too fast or something like that. So I might even do that.
All right. And for those of you who just logged on, you can start preheating your ovens at 425. We're just getting started with the rice.
Extra splash of water. And so what we're going to do, it's going to take like 30 minutes, maybe 30, 40 minutes to cook the rice. So it should finish right on time. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to bring it to a boil. And as soon as it's boiling, we're going to turn it down to simmer, cover it, and just let it simmer on low for about 30 minutes. Okay?
For the brown rice.
For the brown rice, yeah. Yeah, if it's white rice, same process, but it might only take like 15 to 20 minutes to finish cooking the rice. So either way, you're going to want to check periodically because your stove is different than ours. Everyone's different. And so depending on how low yours goes, yours might cook faster or slower, but check it periodically. We're going to give this about 30 minutes. Well, first we'll bring it to a boil, then we'll give it about 30 minutes.
Okay.
And if folks didn't catch it, we're just getting the rice started, the brown rice, and preheat your ovens at 425. If you have any questions about the rice, feel free to unmute now and ask your questions or put them in chat.
All right.
God, people keep rolling in.
Oh, cool. Lovely.
So by now, maybe rice is on the stove top.
Yep.
We're going to move on to the tempeh.
Yeah, we're going to move on to the tempeh. So we have the tempeh that the co-op sells, and this is a multigrain tempeh. They also sell just a soy tempeh. There are other brands that are sold at Safeway, Fred Meyer, or Natural Grocers. And the one at the food co-op is sold frozen, but in other grocery stores, it's usually in the refrigerated area by the tofu. And so tempeh, I think Tim got some other fun facts about tempeh, but it's a fermented source of protein that a lot of vegan and vegetarian eaters will consume. I find it quite delicious. For some, it's an acquired taste. And what I've learned from some friends is that the trick is boiling it first. So what we're going to do before we marinate it, we're going to cut up the tempeh into small kind of rectangles or squares. For this recipe, if you eat it and you feel like tempeh is not your thing, that's okay. A great substitute is tofu or chickpeas. And so you could easily substitute tempeh out for those things. So if you usually have blocks of tempeh for this one, they come in these large rectangles. In the other brands at the other stores tend to be these longer rectangles. So I'm just gonna cut it in one direction and kind of make my smaller pieces. And so ultimately, these are gonna be mixed in your salad. So if you want bigger pieces, you can keep them bigger, but we tend to do kind of these smaller pieces, and they're gonna crisp up when we put them in the oven. So you're cutting these up.
Do you know where tempeh is from originally?
I don't, Tim.
I learned. Tempeh is originally from Indonesia. That's where tempeh originally came from. It's very similar to tofu, except that it tends to be nuttier. There's a little more texture to it. It's firmer and a little more of a nutty flavor than tofu tends to have. But okay, so we got ours chopped up.
All right.
And we're gonna boil it.
The next step is to put all of the tempeh in a pan. A saucepan will do, or a small pot, and we're gonna boil it. So you can usually put all the tempeh in the pot, and then you cover it. You can either cover it or kind of halfway fill it with water, and then you're gonna put it right on the stovetop and boil it. And you can leave it on medium to high, kind of like a medium to high flame, or if you're using an electric stove, kind of the medium to high setting. And that is going to allow it to stay boiling. So you don't have to worry about bringing it down to a simmer. You kind of want it to keep boiling. And you can kind of just leave it and leave it uncovered, because of course there will be steam coming up, and you just can let that release.
And so they don't need the water necessarily to even cover the tempeh totally. Is that kind of what I heard?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so you just want it covering some of the tempeh.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
The idea is that we're steaming it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and again, we said the co-op tempeh was frozen, and so you could just do it directly from the frozen tempeh. You can cut it up while it's frozen and boil it from there, or you can defrost it first. And if you buy tempeh and you don't use it right away, you can throw it in your freezer and it'll be good for another month. So if you get curious about it and buy it at the store but forget about it, or can't think of how to make something with it, we just put it in the freezer and then you can use it a couple weeks later. Excellent.
Right. Tempeh's on the stove,
Lovely.
waiting for the rice to boil.
Beautiful. Okay, so our
I
next,
have a question.
Please.
The dish we're making tonight, can that be frozen?
I wouldn't freeze it.
Okay.
No, great question. Probably because of the kale and the avocado that's in it. If you wanted to use it in the future, like if you're bulk cooking in advance, say on the weekend, you could make each ingredient separately and then combine it the day of. Like you could make on Sunday, we do this a lot too. You'll make a thing of rice, sweet potatoes, tempeh, and then if I want to eat it Monday, I might make the kale and the dressing and the avocado and put it together for my portion. So you could freeze those other things, kind of.
Yeah, but as a finished dish, maybe not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. So while that's boiling, we're gonna start with, should we do the marinade or the sweet potatoes, do you think?
Maybe let's get the potatoes going.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So grab your sweet potatoes. Somebody asked earlier if they should peel them. That's up to you. We typically wash them well in the sink and then we'll cut them up and we leave the peel on. I like the taste of the peel. Sometimes it also adds a lot of nice texture when you're roasting them. But you could peel them if that's your preference.
Cool, and we're gonna like cube it, kind of, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. You have your knife.
Yeah.
And I see our rice is boiling, so I'm going to
Can you wash them?
go for it. I'm gonna bring the rice down to a simmer and cover it. So who knows, it might be time to check yours. We're just keeping an eye on that.
All righty.
Tim, what kind of sweet potatoes did you get?
Garnet, yeah.
Okay.
Yummy. Yeah. All right.
So of course, when you're cutting up your sweet potato, you can look and see if there are any spots. Like on here, there are a few spots, so I might trim those off. Especially with any potato, you can really taste when it's not good. It has some rotten spots. It tastes pretty nasty. Then when you're cutting them up, you kind of want to create the same size so that when you roast them, they cook evenly. So you don't have to leave it in longer because the bigger pieces might take longer and the smaller pieces will be done quickly. So you want to try and create the same size. For this recipe, it's nicer, similar to the tempeh, to have smaller cubes.
They'll probably cook much faster, right?
Exactly.
Cook faster. It's like bite size probably, which helps. It's just gonna add nice color too, actually.
Yeah, it's the pretty
orange.
Yeah, and you could use any kind of sweet potato that you like. I think the co-op, they have those Japanese ones too, right?
Yeah, we can do different kinds. And then when people bring them to the register, sometimes they all look the same. It's like, which one is this?
Yeah, because the skin are similar colors.
Sometimes, yeah. I'm sure there's a difference, and if I really studied it, I could figure out what the difference between different kinds of sweet potatoes are.
You guys, Laura wanted to know if you could substitute russet potatoes for sweet potatoes.
Sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the taste will be a little bit different. It won't be as sweet, but I'm sure it'll still be delicious.
Yeah, it'd probably just be a little more savory, I would think.
Yeah, that makes a lot
That
of
sounds
sense.
good to me.
Yeah. Go
Yeah,
for it, Laura. Do it.
Sometimes
Do it.
home cooking is just about using what you have. So
Gotta make it your own.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's like, oh, we have like 75% of this recipe.
Oh, Jennifer, you got in. You're gonna
Yeah.
preheat your oven at 425. Start rice if you haven't already.
I did already. My quinoa's done.
Perfect.
Awesome.
What else do we got going, y'all? So Jennifer can catch up.
Sorry.
Boiling the tempeh.
Okay, I'll get on that.
She cut the tempeh into little squares, right, Kelly?
Okay, yeah, cube it.
Yep, perfect. And just
Yeah.
call if you have any questions, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Of
She's
course.
gonna catch up, I can tell.
We have the bowl.
I
Absolutely.
have a lot of stuff done.
Yes, awesome.
One more question from Catherine, it looks like.
Yeah, it's going a little fast.
Okay.
Cool,
To be
we'll slow
honest.
down. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
take
no,
your time.
appreciate that. Did you miss something, Catherine? Okay, no, appreciate that feedback.
Cool.
Where we'll meet is just in the place of having all your sweet potatoes in a bowl.
Cool.
And we'll
Okay.
wait there until everyone's ready.
Yeah.
And she's also cutting the sweet potatoes into kind of smaller cubes so they'll cook quicker.
Okay. I used butternut squash and a sweet potato.
Awesome. That sounds good.
Cool.
Tim, do you want to put yours in?
I do. So yeah, so we have our sweet potatoes in kind of small bite-sized cubes. Our rice is simmering right now on the stove, so we're just giving that like 30 minutes or so to really cook.
And all your ovens should be preheating at 425.
We have our tempeh, hopefully coming to a boil soon. I can see Kelly looking at that. So you might still be chopping, but right now we have our potatoes in a bowl.
Mhm.
Good time if anybody has any questions.
We'll give you a second.
We've got another person coming
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that. Hello? Okay.
What's that?
Oh, yeah.
I got these potatoes.
Okay.
They're white in the middle and purple on the outside.
Yeah, I think that's just a white sweet potato.
Yeah.
Yeah, Japanese.
That's the Japanese one.
Yeah, no, those are
Okay.
good.
We're good.
I love those. The texture is a little bit more kind of dense.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I really enjoy eating those.
Yeah, they're good.
Hard to cook. They're hard to cut. Harder to cut, but I have one sweet potato and one Japanese
Yeah.
from
Nice.
the $1 discount basket.
Ooh,
All right.
yeah. I feel like the word is like starchy. They're starchier.
Hmm.
But
But I like-
fortunately, any kind of potato is going to be great in this.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay, so we have our potatoes in a bowl. Is our
Yeah,
next step?
we're waiting for everyone to catch up.
Aha,
We're meeting, this is our meeting place.
this is our meeting place. Yes. I'm gonna check out.
We hiked to the top of the first hill.
Awesome. I'm gonna post some info on sweet potatoes here. Oh man, they keep coming in.
All right.
Yes. All righty. How's everybody doing? Good, good. Thanks, y'all. Looks like people are catching up.
And hopefully you're having fun. This should be fun.
Yes, please have fun.
Woohoo!
Patricia and Steven, I don't know if you guys are cooking along. I saw you just logged in. If you are, you could probably catch up by preheating your oven to 425, starting some rice, cubing your tempeh and boiling it. And what else, Kelly? Or is that it?
You think you got it. Yeah.
Oh,
we-
sweet potatoes.
Right? Boiling
Sweet
the
potatoes.
tempeh, cutting up the sweet potatoes.
Cut up your sweet potatoes and you just put them in a bowl for now, right?
Yep, we just have them in a bowl.
Okay.
We'll wait and take the next steps together.
Awesome. So if this is a good time, if anybody has any questions or needs help catching up, to unmute or put your question in chat. All right.
Huh.
I like-
I'm curious if anybody is new to tempeh or if this is a familiar protein for our cooks tonight.
Oh, cool. Okay. Steven's going to cook it later.
I
What do
really
you
love tempeh, and it's something I had to get used to for a while, but once you marinate it, part of me likes tofu because it's just so
Patricia.
simple. It really just soaks up whatever you put it in. It's just like simple. Tempeh is a little more complex, I think, because it's kind of nuttier, has a little more texture, but once it's marinated and soaking up the flavor of whatever you put it in, I like tempeh.
Yeah. Angie said it's new for her. So
Are you gonna help me cook the baby?
That's great.
Let's put this on pause.
wait, did somebody just say something? Oh, okay. I thought I heard something.
You're just not working.
Yeah, it's just that.
We had some difficulty with our stovetop, so
Yeah.
we're having to restart the boiling of the tempeh.
So you're not behind. If
Oh,
you
excellent. Joanne said Steve doesn't like tofu, so she's interested in seeing how he likes tempeh. I think it's a different animal.
I agree.
Catherine said it's her first time cooking with it. Suzanne too. Awesome.
Lovely. Thank you for being adventurous.
Yes.
been making.
That's why we're here, right?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why we're here. Learn new things, try new things.
Tofu. Red lentils tofu.
Yep. Kathy said new for her too. Awesome.
All right.
Should we do what we're gonna do with these potatoes? How are we doing? Are people kind of caught up?
Yeah. Okay.
I think we can jump into the sweet potatoes.
Glorious. So once your sweet potatoes are in a bowl, you're gonna cover them with olive oil. So we will take this kind of, you could use like a tablespoon, or they have this lovely squirt bottle here. Do you have a stir?
I do.
And so you basically just want to coat them a little bit of olive oil because we're just roasting them. So if you're familiar with roasting vegetables, you just want to coat them a little bit so that they don't stick to the bottom of your baking pan or sheet.
Awesome. That was fast, Patricia. She already caught up.
Nice.
Excellent.
We got some serious cooks here.
Okay, and
How
then
much olive oil did you use, Kelly?
like a tablespoon or two. It depends on how many sweet potatoes we have.
Just to get them all lightly coated.
Yeah. You just want a light coating. Some people will also use the spray olive oil,
Oh, there you go.
the way to coat things, but I usually just kind of do a little, what do they call that? Like a slug? Is that the
Drizzle?
word?
A drizzle, that
Yeah,
works.
drizzle.
That works, yeah.
Of olive oil over the sweet potato.
Nice.
Of course, whenever you have a moment, you can check your rice, make sure it's not boiling too hard, make sure it's not too low. Mine was probably too low, so I just turned it up a little bit.
Cool.
And then once you have the sweet potatoes covered in the olive oil, you're gonna put them out on a baking sheet. So you spread them on a baking sheet. Depending on your type of baking sheet, you could have a liner. Looks like Tim put some parchment paper on this one. But the olive oil should help prevent them also from sticking, but the parchment paper gives it an extra layer of protection from sticking. So you want to kind of spread them out so that they can all cook evenly. And once you have them spread out on the baking sheet and your oven is preheated, you can put the sweet potatoes in the oven.
All right. And what are we going to set the timer for?
That is a good question. Let me see if I can
I
find
think
it.
it's 30 minutes.
About 30 minutes, we're thinking.
Okay. So you can put your sweet potatoes in your preheated oven at 425 for 30 minutes.
Great, and if you're cooking your rice, you're just checking on your rice. And then your tempeh, depending on how quickly it was boiling, ours is still struggling a little bit.
We're getting it there.
If yours has been boiling for 5 to 10 minutes already, you can stop the boiling process and you can use a strainer and just place you can pour the tempeh and the water in the strainer so that the water is out of the pan. And you can just leave the tempeh cooling in the strainer for now.
Cool. Sounds good.
Cool. So is our
Our next step is to make our marinade
cool.
/ dressing.
All right.
Okay. Wonderful. And this is one example of a marinade. Yep, 30 minutes on the potatoes, Catherine.
Yep. Perfect.
So the one variation of a marinade or dressing for this dish, if you love this marinade, use it widely. You can also find lots of variations of marinades that or if you have other dressings that you love to use, you can experiment a lot with things like this. The lovely thing about tempeh, similar to tofu, is that it will take on the flavor of the marinade or dressing. So it has a little bit of its own unique flavor, but it'll really start to absorb these flavors and get really crispy and delicious.
So what kind
Kelli,
of
do you
bowl?
think the tempeh absorbs more than like say tofu would?
I think it probably depends. Like if you really press your tofu so that when you marinate it, it absorbs the flavor, that can get really flavorful. Also, the longer that you marinate it, similar to meat, like you could marinate your tofu, your tempeh for a full day in the refrigerator, and then it was really flavorful.
There you go.
We're not going to marinate it as long, but you could do that in theory.
Is this bowl okay? Or do you want a different bowl?
Can we rinse it?
Or I can grab it. So,
So when you're making the dressing, you can make it in a small bowl if you'd like. So we have a nice little small bowl here. This is a great bowl for making a marinade.
All right.
And you want to assemble your dressing ingredients. So we have maple syrup. Any kind of maple syrup will do. This is the sweetener in the marinade. We have soy sauce, or if you use like Bragg's amino acids, that's an alternative to soy sauce. So any kind of soy sauce will do. We also have Dijon mustard. This is actually a stone ground mustard. So any type of mustard that you have will also work. And then you'll need more olive oil. So if you had the olive oil out for your sweet potatoes, you'll use that for your marinade. Okay. Tim, do you have a tablespoon?
yeah.
So you'll want a little measuring spoon that is a tablespoon, and then you'll need a measuring cup that's 1/4 cup. So 1/4 cup measuring cup and a 1 tablespoon measuring spoon.
All right.
And we're gonna put all of the ingredients of the marinade together into our bowl. And so the first ingredient, you can go in any order, but I'm gonna start with the maple syrup. Once Tim finds the 1/4 cup,
I have a half cup.
we can guesstimate.
Yes, we can guess. Absolutely.
Tim is
That's
gonna
cooking at home,
We're gonna
right?
wing it.
Yeah, we're
So
gonna we're on the edge here.
It's a lot at home. I'm like, oh, that looks right. Okay, that looks like a quarter cup. So,
Quarter cup of maple syrup.
Yep.
Alright. Quarter cup maple syrup.
and then we have a quarter cup of Dijon mustard or stone ground mustard. Tim, do you have a smaller little spoon that I can use?
Sure.
So if your mustard is in a little container, sometimes you need a little spoon to get it out.
How much mustard again, Kelly?
A quarter cup, it's a lot.
Okay.
You might be a little surprised. This is a mustardy dish. If you are somebody who does not love mustard, you can always add a little bit less. I think we love mustard. I personally really like mustard, so I don't mind that mustardy taste.
And I don't remember finding it overwhelming.
No.
I think you'll be a little surprised. It also depends on the kind of mustard you're using, probably,
Sure.
depending on how powerful it is, but
Mm-hmm.
So we have our maple syrup and our mustard.
All right.
Lovely. And then the next one is the soy sauce. So I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. It says 2 to 3, so it's up to you. If you're trying to go low on the sodium, you could do 2. If you really love soy sauce, you could do 3. Let's do 2.5.
we're going 2.5.
Okay. The soy sauce is in there, and then the final thing is the olive oil. And Tim, do you have a fork we could use?
Yes.
And so with the olive oil, it's the same as the soy sauce, 2 to 3 tablespoons.
And so just to reiterate all of that, we did a quarter cup of maple syrup, quarter cup of mustard, 2 to 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, and 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And all that's in a bowl right now, and Kelly's starting to mix it up.
So I like the fork because it's kind of, you can use the same motion with your wrists that you would if you were whisking eggs. Kind of whisking all the ingredients together.
All right.
And you want to blend them together as much as you can. Similar to any other dressing or marinade, they won't fully combine because of the different chemistry of the ingredients. Like the oil will just traditionally separate from the soy sauce, but it's getting pretty good. Okay. And once you have made your marinade, once it seems well enough mixed, you can pause and hold that for a second.
All right.
We drain our
Okay.
tempeh. You might have drained your tempeh already.
Yeah.
We're just getting there, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
All right.
Okay. Lovely. So your tempeh is drained. Draining. We use just a strainer over the sink.
And then do we just add it right into the bowl?
For our purposes,
Or do you want to use a different bowl?
I think we should use a different bowl.
Okay. So we're putting the tempeh into a bowl
All right. So put tempeh into a clean bowl.
Yep.
for marinating purposes, right?
Yep. All right. And then, okay. We're going to use almost all of the marinade on this tempeh.
All right.
I would leave just a little bit in your bowl because you might want a little bit extra. So I'm going to use my quarter cup measuring cup to start to take some of the dressing and start to pour it over the tempeh.
Ladling it in.
Because I think it could be kind of nice to have a little bit left at the end in case you want to add more. If you really love the dressing and the marinade, you might want a little bit more on your salad.
Especially because then it'll really mix into the kale and the other ingredients you
Right.
have, which can be really nice.
Yeah. So we're probably leaving, would you say that's like,
Quarter cup, maybe.
yeah, maybe a quarter cup still there.
Cool. So leave about a quarter cup for later.
Yeah.
And you could just leave it right in that bowl that you made it in. And we'll come back to it. Just set it to the side. Don't throw it away.
All right.
You'll use it. You'll always use
Awesome.
it. Okay. And then, do you have another one? Okay. So then once the dressing is on the tempeh, we're just going to mix it.
All right.
Stir it up.
Mix your tempeh with the dressing.
Yeah, it'll absorb most of it. It's okay if there's a little bit extra.
Okay.
Because we're gonna place it on that second baking sheet. If you'd rather put it in a small baking pan with sides, like if you have a little Pyrex or a lasagna pan, you could do that, or a pie pan, small one. You do want some space between the tempeh because you want to be able to flip them and kind of see it. You want them each to crisp up. So if they're right next to each other, they're not going to crisp up.
Sure.
But what's lovely about this dressing too is that it has the olive oil already in it. So it shouldn't stick, but it's nice to have something underneath it. So then you don't have to work as hard cleaning your baking sheet.
Yeah. I could imagine that maple syrup and mustard might be a little hard to get off the pan.
It's a little sticky.
Yeah, it already looks so good. It smells really good. It's great
Yum.
already. And I will add, our rice is getting, I think, pretty close. I would
Okay.
bet it needs 10
We have a
minutes or
question
so.
here. She said, do we need another tray for the oven for the tempeh? That would be a
Yes.
yes, right? Yeah.
Is that, so yeah, I don't have to. Okay, fun.
If you don't have a second one, Jennifer, if you have a frying pan, you could
Yeah,
fry it.
Okay,
Yeah, so
I'll
you
figure
could,
out something.
yeah, you could do it on the stovetop. We've done that a lot with tofu as well. And so you could just take if you're gonna use the frying pan or saute pan, you can just put that right on your stove, put it on low to medium, and then you could even cover it if you wanted to and just kind of let it flip it from time to time. You're gonna have to watch that more.
Okay, I'm gonna try to figure out something. Thanks for helping me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're here for you.
No
Catherine said, I need a sous chef because I'm sweating.
We're working you hard today.
Okay.
Good. It'll be
So-
worth it.
Once you've mixed your tempeh with the dressing, you're going to put it on your baking sheet or your pan, or if you're using the stove top, you'll put it there. And you're gonna have extra dressing in the bowl that the tempeh was in. So, or if you don't, depending on how well yours mixed or how much tempeh to dressing ratio you had, you'll just kind of mix it around and then keep pouring it around.
Oh, okay. Just get it all on there.
Yeah, so kind of think about it like if you've ever made barbecue chicken, like the barbecue sauce gets everywhere, that's okay.
Awesome.
But then you want a little bit of space between each tempeh.
Have them all kind of laying flat, maybe.
But it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not making cookies. Okay. All right. So once you have it on your baking sheet and you're ready, you can just put it in the oven.
Although it's not, I think it's not a complicated recipe, but there are like a few different things happening at once. You know, the rice is going,
Sure.
potatoes are going now, the tempehs, and so it's like keeping your mind in a few different places can sometimes get stressful, but
It's a good
just take a deep breath and
exercise and focus on concentration.
yes.
So what's lovely now is that there should be about 28 on our timers, about 18 to 20 minutes left on the sweet potatoes, and that's perfect for the tempeh. So we're going to use that same timer for the potatoes and the tempeh. If you because you might be in your oven, you might want to check on your potatoes, and you can always toss them around if you want to brown the other sides. So safely using oven mitts and a spatula if you need to, you can open up the oven, kind of toss the sweet potatoes so they're evenly cooking if you'd like. And then the next place where we'll meet, so taking our time to get there, we will find our kale or whatever green that you're using this evening. And that will be our next step.
So if somebody's timer's a little off from yours, how much time should they set for the tempeh?
For the tempeh, I would do 20 minutes.
All right, cool.
That looks great, Catherine. Beautiful.
Nice job.
Excellent.
Everybody's looking very busy in their kitchens.
Yeah, this is a busy recipe. You will be
Nice.
hungry by the time you sit down to eat it. Thankfully, it's delicious.
Well, in the
I-
future too, I think you could just, chop all your stuff ahead of time, get all your bowls ready, and it might not seem like as much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I wasn't my favorite part of this recipe is the sauerkraut. But you don't make the sauerkraut. I just love sauerkraut.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And I think it's a great pair for tempeh. I don't know what is, but it's delicious. I think one of the first recipes I ever had with tempeh was a kale, rice, tempeh, and sauerkraut recipe. It was so good.
Mm.
And I just like the brininess. I'm also
Yeah.
Polish, and so it probably just speaks to my heart.
It's good
Yeah.
stuff.
And I have an ancestral need. for
Yes,
sauerkraut.
yes.
And I get a lot of sauerkraut. We do our fermentation societies once a month, and people bring sauerkraut and kimchi. Catherine, do you have a question?
Since I didn't know what trays I was using for the oven, they now don't fit next to each other.
Okay.
So I put the tempeh in the middle, and the potatoes probably shouldn't be on the bottom, right? I just looked at it, and it's very hot in there.
Yeah, it's okay. I would just check it. You know your oven.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, I get that. My oven surprises me all the time.
The potatoes are probably fine on the bottom though, right?
Yeah, they'll probably be okay. You might
Yeah.
just have to turn them to make
Okay.
sure they don't burn. Yeah.
Yeah, just check them a little more.
Yeah, they probably won't burn on the bottom. Probably.
Potatoes take a while.
Yeah, and sweet potatoes can sometimes take a little bit longer.
It's just that the glowing hot thing in the oven is actually on the bottom, so I'm wondering if it's too close to the heat.
It should be okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I will take pictures of the burn scars and my kitchen.
And the sweat dripping down your face.
As long as you send a picture of your completed meal with it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Well, good. So if you put everything in the oven, take a deep breath. We're halfway there.
Pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exciting. And yeah,
Jennifer,
Tim,
how you
how's it-
doing?
Are we cutting the kale?
We're gonna use the kale next. So if you have a bowl,
I didn't, okay.
Nope, I think you're catching up.
when you're ready,
And
get
so have you tried it with kimchi? Because I didn't do sauerkraut, because I had kimchi already.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah. I think the
Okay.
flavors, you'll have to test it. I probably wouldn't mix the kimchi in, but maybe have it on the
Okay.
side. And if it tastes good, you could add it. Kimchi has a it's a little bit more funky than
Yeah,
sour.
but you have the soy sauce, and so I thought
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why I went with it. And like I flavored the quinoa too with soy sauce and marin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it just probably have a little more of a spicy kick to it.
It might be the perfect
It
combination.
actually, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Try a new variation on the
Go
rest.
ahead, Joanne.
Yeah, Tim, when's your next fermentation class? Steve and I are really interested in learning about that.
I'm glad I brought it up.
Yeah, me too.
It's the third Sunday of every month at 6:30 at the co-op. So the third Sunday, I would need to look at a calendar to figure out what the date is, but just count the third Sunday and we'll be
That's
here at
good.
6:30.
Okay, and do we need to bring anything?
You don't need to know. If you have something you've been fermenting, you can bring it. The way it works is everyone brings something. We all take turns like show and tell, talking about what we brought, and then we all taste and talk and hang out. But a lot of people come for the first time or even not for the first time with nothing, and they just come to learn and taste and hang out, and that's great too. So absolutely no, you don't need to bring anything.
So we can learn how to, like, you'll tell us about how to ferment, make sauerkraut and all that
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah, each person takes turns getting up and basically explaining their process, and we all have time to ask questions and things like that. And then when we're all eating and sampling, you can even find that person that you wanted to ask and ask more questions to them and things like that. So it's kind of a show and tell, but with time for everyone to explain their process and their recipes and how they did it and stuff. So
Thank you.
Looks
yeah,
like the next one should be March 17th.
thank you, Paul. Yeah,
Mhm.
March 17th, 6:30.
St. Patty's Day.
That's
Oh
right.
yeah, right.
I did notice that. I should have remembered. Yeah, St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. Which I don't know if the Irish have many fermented dishes. I'm trying to think. Anything I can make that would, anyways.
So
Beer.
Tim, you're very interesting. We need to make our recipe. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm very.
Yes, thank
This
you.
is great stuff. So if you're working on your kale, the co-op has these awesome huge bowls. I don't have a bowl this size, so I just use my normal largest bowl or a salad bowl,
Sure.
or if you have some other contraption. And you're just gonna take your kale and you're gonna take the leaves off of the rib. So we're not gonna use the rib. And you can do it just with your fingers.
Cool.
And so if you just bought this from the store, you want to check it. You might want to rinse it first.
Sure.
Or if you got it from your garden or another garden.
And the kind of stalky part, we're just gonna get rid of, right?
Yeah.
Compost to throw away.
Yeah, you can compost the ribs.
I do remember one technique Jamar showed me at one point, which is taking a knife and just like rubbing it against the stalky part, and it just like takes the leaves right off.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
There's different ways you can do it, whatever makes sense for you. We only want the leaves.
Cool.
I just tear, kind of like Christmas.
There you go.
Open the presents,
Just tear them open.
tear them open.
All sleep.
And what's good too, when you are ripping and tearing it, because you're using your hands, you start to break down the kale. So you're making it, by doing that, you're massaging it, making it a little bit less bitter.
Oh, right, right.
Helpful.
And I think we're gonna do more of that eventually, right?
Yes, we're gonna massage the avocado into the kale.
Huh.
Massage the avocado. All right.
Into the kale.
Something to look forward to.
Woo! That was taken out of context.
All right.
Right.
Okay, so I got my leaves off the stalk part. And do I chop it up more, or are we just ripping it up? Like,
I just rip it up into small pieces.
so you do kind of want it into plate-sizey pieces, right?
Yeah, you want it
Sorta.
smaller so that you can eat it.
Yeah, so you can tear, you can chop a little bit.
Just like if you were making a salad.
Sure, sure.
We're not going like super fine with the pieces. We're not worried about getting them very small. We're just kind of making sure.
And sometimes you can, and once you have them in the bowl, you can also keep tearing them apart. By
Sure.
just putting it there and ripping it. Or, some places sell kale that's already shredded. But it's pretty easy to do on your own. And I think, Tim, we used a whole bunch of kale,
Yes, we used more than the recipe called for, didn't we?
probably. Yeah, this is a lot of kale. So it said 3 to 4 cups. You could just use, if you bought a bunch would be, if you bought it was tied up in a little metally thing.
Yeah.
What are those called?
A
Twist-
band?
Twist tie,
tie.
yeah.
A little twist tie of kale would be a bunch of kale, not a lot of kale, a bunch. And then we just use the whole thing.
All right.
So, yeah, you can use
You
probably
can use
half of
half of
that. Yeah, it
Also,
depends.
if you don't really love kale, you could do less kale.
True, true.
Depends on what we did the whole thing. We're going for it. You can do whatever works for you.
And then
Sounds good.
if you still have that bowl with the remaining marinade and dressing, you can put that dressing on the kale.
Ready for it?
Yeah.
All right, so we had some marinade left. Hopefully you did too.
And then just dump it over it and hang tight.
It's a little dressing. We just took it on.
And when you're ready, you are going to get your avocado.
All right. Grab your avocados.
Avocado. Avocado used to be, well, it still is not used to be. It used to be our code word for like changing cameras, but not today because there's an actual avocado in the recipe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joanne
And-
said we're using red cabbage with apples in a jar. Interesting. Nice.
Oh, yeah. Like instead of sauerkraut?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really delicious. That's
Oh yeah, that
just a
sounds good.
traditional fermented.
And
Kind of
apples
food.
was one of the other like topping options that were here too.
Yeah,
So
you
that
can
works
get
really well.
creative. And I love somebody else said that they made quinoa instead of rice. That's another a great switch or swap too, depending on
Definitely.
what you like or what works for you and your health. Okay, so if you're ready to do the avocado, you're gonna have the avocado, remove the pit, and put all of the avocado meat into the bowl.
Okay.
You wanna do it, Tim?
All right, I'll do it. I feel like cutting an avocado is always like a,
I have a history with avocados.
yeah,
Like cutting yourself?
a good one.
I cut my finger
Oh.
and had to go to the ER.
So with these round, there's probably like the right way to cut an avocado. The right way today is just being very careful, I think.
Yeah.
But we cut it, you can see we cut it in half. Our first step is to cut it in half. So I have 2 halves right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get rid of the pit
Yeah.
as instructed.
So are we going to massage this avocado later?
we're going to we're going to massage the avocado meat into the kale.
Okay, gotcha.
So Tim is finishing with the
You
other.
already put the dressing in?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So
Jennifer, she just put that leftover of the dressing, you know, that like
Okay.
quarter cup on the kale.
Ooh, Joelle, I love your substitution. Barley sounds really good. I bet that would be a really nice complement to the tempeh.
Yeah, if some of you can't read, Joel said I'm using barley instead of rice and fermented radishes instead of sauerkraut. Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
I know.
Okay. So you're gonna remove the avocado meat. So you can use, I just have a fork here because it's easiest. You can also just use a big spoon and just scrape along the outside. This
So
one's nice and ripe, so all of the meat came out.
Sometimes
You
you can
took it
just
all
squeeze
out
it
at
out.
Yeah, you can just squeeze it out. You can scoop it out. Sometimes when they're not as ripe, they're harder to get out.
Oh, totally.
When
And I
they're
will-
ripe, you can peel them and then cut them. That's what
Yeah.
I do.
Oh,
I like
nice.
Great.
Cool.
I will say about probably 8 or 10 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, I turned off our rice and it's just sitting with the top on now.
Great.
So yours might be in a similar place, it might not, but ours seemed about ready just to kind of sit.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, ready.
Cool. It's good
And
to
when you
let it
think
sit
it's
for
done,
about 10
you
minutes
can top
anyway.
on, so it can kind of keep maybe even cooking and soaking up more water and stuff.
Yeah.
Joelle said the
And-
yummy marinade reminds her of Trader Joe's soyaki sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
high praise.
Okay, so the next step, before you do the next step, check and see if you need to do anything else with your hands, because once you start massaging, your hands will be busy. So if you need to check your sweet potatoes or your tempeh and flip them, take a couple of minutes to do that now. Or if you have a sous chef, they can do that. Like
Yes,
Tim.
chef.
Thank you, chef.
Catherine would like a quick recap on the kale.
Lovely. Okay, so all we've done thus far is shred our kale and put it in a big bowl. And we did that by pulling the leaves away from the ribs of the kale and putting it in this big bowl. And then we kind of kept ripping it. So great, it's in a big bowl. And then if you had your remaining marinade, you're gonna put that in the bowl as well with the kale.
So
And-
kale, marinade, and
Yep.
avocado.
Kale marinade, and then you're gonna put all of the avocado meat from one ripe avocado into the bowl with the kale and the dressing.
And that's where we're at.
That is where we're at. And then when you're ready, you start, once you've checked on your sweet potatoes and your tempeh, you start massaging. So your hands are gonna get dirty, well, dirty with your food. So make sure that they're clean. And then you're just gonna start pulling apart your avocado, kind of mushing it, and the avocado is gonna mush into the kale.
Okay.
So you're really getting in there and you're really massaging it.
That is one thing. I mean, I think we're kind of massaging the kale, right? Because when you press
like
it,
it.
massage it, it's taking it from this kind of like
Yeah.
really stiff. You know, we're working all the ingredients into the avocado, softening it, I think making it less bitter, right?
And so it's kind of coating the kale in a way.
I would
And so
think
you
the
kind
kale would be easier to eat and go down smoother too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes kale can feel like it's going to be hard to digest or something, but I think this process kind of breaks it down a little bit, which is kind of nice
And it makes the dressing a little bit creamier.
with
And
the
Joanne
avocado.
posted something I do all the time. She said, I learned that if you don't want to use the whole avocado, you can leave the pit in the part you don't use and it'll keep good for a few days. And what I usually do is I'll put the half I did use, I'll put that half over the half I'm saving and put it like in a container and put it in the fridge. That keeps it even riper.
That's great.
Yeah,
Okay.
Someone
Less
recommended
brown,
me-
I should say.
Yeah, I was complaining once about guacamole turning brown, and someone recommended just putting the pit in the guacamole, which
Right
is
in the
interesting.
middle, you'll see that a lot.
Okay. So I'm done with massaging the avocado into the kale. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want it to get too soggy. So we kind of stop after a couple of minutes. When it seems like the avocado is pretty broken apart, you might see that there's still a couple of chunks, and that's okay. That's kind of like a fun surprise when you get in there. And then you'll just leave this in the bowl and then wash your hands.
And I see timing is great. We've got about a minute left on our potatoes.
Cool.
And that means for our tempeh too. So that's all finishing up. I think our last step is just combining it all together, I believe, but
Yes,
we'll
it
see.
is.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Yeah, we're almost done.
See, it's all coming together.
It's all coming together. So
Cool.
take it back in, think about where you're at.
Yeah, feel free to speak up if anybody has any questions or needs any help getting to this point.
Mm-hmm. Get excited. It's going to be delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I would think that kale would probably just be good like that with the avocado and the dressing.
Wow.
That's a thing, I know, yeah.
So good.
You don't need the rice, but the rice, I think, helps you feel a little bit more full when it's all said.
Yeah.
Me, I'm speaking for myself,
Yeah. I think I'd need the rice as well.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it's more substantial, especially if you're just in general, if you're eating for a complete dinner,
Sure.
it would really be filling.
I think the rice and the tempeh have complete protein in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So our timer just went off for the sweet potatoes and the tempeh. Great timing. So
Awesome.
I'm gonna remove them.
Yeah.
So should I go here?
Sure. It goes.
Excellent. So find a safe spot for your sweet potatoes and your tempeh to cool. Is that your tempeh, Catherine? Yeah, how does it look? Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice. Good job.
delicious. And then if you want, once you pull it off, you can toss it a little bit. So you could flip it on the other side. It will continue to cook a little bit on the sheet, even when it's outside of the oven.
All
Because
right.
it was really high temperature, right? So it's
Sure.
at 425. So that sheet is still really hot and the inside is still cooking. And then you can turn your oven off.
All right.
Beautiful. And now we let things cool a little bit. So take your time. If you need to throw anything away, put anything in the sink, clear things away, you can do that.
And then you'll be able to eat sooner.
Yes.
Exactly.
I can kind of show at least what our tempeh looks like. Maybe if you want to go avocado on me.
Okay, yeah. There we go.
So yeah,
So-
it's a little crispy in there.
See where the dress. And it should be very flavorful, crispy.
Delicious.
Have you guys ever tried like flipping the tempeh like halfway through to get it more crispy?
Yeah, you could certainly do that. You can
That's what I
experiment
often do with my roasted potatoes. I'll flip them a couple times so they kind of get crisped all around.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, the longer, so if you like it really crispy, you can keep cooking it.
Sure.
So if you have plenty of time this evening and you're not in a rush to sit down and eat and you want your tempeh crispier and so you want to flip it and then put it back in the oven, you could do that.
Cool.
Totally up to you. With this recipe, it's really delicious even if it's softer. It's still really good. But if you really crave that crunchiness that is really satisfying and you want a crisp edge, you could just roast it a little bit longer. It's not going to be super crispy, but it will get a little bit harder. Similar to tofu.
And I think ours kind of got there with about 15 minutes of cooking. But you might have put yours in a little later or something like that. So it depends on when you got it in the oven. But
Sure.
ours is looking pretty good.
Yeah. Cool.
Are we ready to put things together?
Yeah, so it's probably still pretty hot.
Uh-huh.
So let's check it. You use the spatula already?
Yeah.
So you have several options from here. Right now, our salad is separate from the rice, from the tempeh, from the sweet potatoes. If the way that this recipe is written is that you put everything together except for the rice, and then you add on other toppings like the sauerkraut, nuts. If you want to put cranberries, you could do that too. There's a whole list of toppings you could add. For me, I just keep it pretty simple and use everything that we have right here, plus the sauerkraut. So one way you could serve it is you choose how much kale you want, and then you add however many sweet potatoes, tempeh, and rice that you want onto your bowl. And then you can mix it together yourself. If your family is kind of like a choose your own adventure family. If you want, you can mix it all together and then it becomes this like delicious potato tempeh salad. And you would eat it that way. And so you would take as much from that big bowl as you would like. So you can choose your own adventure. If you like to keep things separate, you can choose that route. If you want to mix it all together, that's what we're going to do. And then we'll show what that looks like. And it creates this really beautiful, colorful salad mix in the bowl. So Tim, which do you want to add first?
Let's do the sweet potatoes.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. So you just kind of scoop them in. Beautiful.
And Kelli, did you only use olive oil when you roasted those?
Yes.
No
We
salt, pepper, or anything?
Didn't because we wanted to just be mindful if you're working with a low sodium diet or anything. If you really like to salt your sweet potatoes, you absolutely could.
Cool.
But there's also a lot of flavor in the dressing.
Sure.
And the soy sauce is in the dressing, so you will get that salty flavor.
Oh, right.
But an option is for you to also add salt or pepper at the end if
Sure.
you just need that.
Right.
All right, potatoes are in.
Okay, we have our potato in our bowl with our kale, and Tim is gonna add the tempeh.
All right.
Right.
Oh, you put potatoes on top of the kale.
We're
You can
gonna
put it-
mix it all in the bowl.
Yeah, we're just gonna mix it all together.
Okay. I thought we were layering for some reason.
At this point
Yeah.
we are, but then we're gonna mix it.
It looks pretty beautiful if you want to layer it. Or if you were bringing it to a party, you could layer it and then assemble it.
That's what I'm saying. Layer it and then deliver it to other people and let them mix it how they want.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jennifer. So you got your kale, your sweet potatoes, and your tempeh, and then you have whatever bowl or spoon that you might have, and you just mix it all together, kind of tossing it, because you want to try and prevent from breaking up the sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes still stay kind of soft even when they're roasted, even though they're roasted a long time. Like sweet potato fries, they never get quite as crispy as a russet potato or white potato.
Right.
So I usually just take my spoon along the bottom of the bowl and kind of just ladle up to mix it. Kind of like you were tossing like any other salad.
Try not to smash your potatoes.
Yeah, and you don't have to overly mix it. You're just tossing it until you feel like you have a nice distribution of kale to tempeh to sweet potatoes. And we're pretty much done.
Awesome.
This is the maple mustard tempeh bowl with sweet potatoes, kale, and tempeh. And on the side, you have your rice or your quinoa or your barley, and then your fermented sauerkraut or lovely other cabbage, apple mixes, or kimchi. And you can serve that all together. You could create those different bowls and kind of mix it in together however you'd like.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna grab a couple plates so that we can actually plate this up.
Let's do it.
So,
All right.
Cool. How's
Can I
everybody
see the
doing? Go ahead, Catherine.
we-
Sorry.
Can we see the big bowl?
Yeah,
The tempeh is in there now, right?
it's all in there.
It's all in there, Catherine.
Okay, here we go.
give you a little.
This is what it looks like.
Nice.
Nice.
Yum. It's pretty,
That's starting to look pretty hearty there.
yeah, it's pretty impressive. You know, this could
Oh,
be
nice job, Angie. Nice
Oh,
job. Oh
beautiful.
yeah, if you could please send me pictures of your plated meals. You guys all have my email and your Zoom confirmation. I'd love to see pictures of your completed meals.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna start plating one up.
Okay. This looks delicious.
Yes. Nice job, Joanne. Nice job.
For your picture? Yeah. Cool. You do however you want to do.
Yeah.
Talented food photographers.
All right.
Or photographer, yeah. Food photographer.
Do you want to get the sauerkraut out?
Oh, yes.
Tim brought sauerkraut from the food co-op.
Cool.
I got some dried cranberries. This is
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Angie. Enjoy.
Thanks for joining us. Great work. Your meal looked delicious.
Yes. Nice job.
I hope you like it.
Yes.
got the
So
cranberry.
my dog's in love with your dressing, just so you know.
Your dog? Did you say your dog?
Yeah.
Oh,
I gave her
nice.
one piece of the kale that had the dressing on it. Yeah, she's like right here begging for more.
Oh my gosh. Who would have thought? That's so funny.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there he is.
It's
She
amazing.
really likes it. I'll send you the picture.
Oh,
So your
that's
dressing must be
perfect.
fantastic.
usually dogs
Awesome.
don't like kale, so that's impressive.
Oh, she loves all vegetables.
Oh
I
my
have to lock up my garden.
Oh, great, Stacy.
Thanks, Stacy.
Thanks, everybody.
All
Now
right.
let's get that cameraman fed.
He's getting there.
I'm trying to file up a picture,
Oh, nice. Nice.
so.
Yeah, and if it's still pretty hot, be careful. But I find if you're adding sauerkraut that was in the refrigerator, it tends to cool things down a little bit because it's cold. But I put a lot of sauerkraut in mine. I don't know.
Laura said, thank you. Please let's feature more vegan, vegetarian recipes. I think Kelly will have another one for us in April, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Oh yeah, I forgot to let everybody know we're gonna take March off because of a scheduling conflict, but then we're gonna come back with Kelly and Tim in April. We don't have the recipe yet, but I'm guessing it'll be vegan or
Sounds like it.
cool.
Yeah.
Fun.
Awesome.
Steve likes it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
Hooray. That's such a victory. We can go
Good
home
job,
now.
Joanne. You did it.
We reached one.
Absolutely.
Well, start. So.
Now,
Okay.
does he like it before you finish the bottle of wine? All right. See, there you go.
Oh, hey, Joanne. Ooh, yay, Suzanne.
Awesome.
Catherine, that looks great.
Job.
Good job.
Oh, thanks, Steven.
Oh, nice job, Catherine. Very good. Send me a
Delicious.
picture. Take the pic before you eat it.
No, I'm gonna fall to the floor and start eating.
Nice. Enjoy.
So
Yeah, if you guys are done with your meal, please check out and eat it while it's, I don't know, is it hot? Maybe not hot, but fresh.
Warm still a little bit. Yeah.
This is the kind of thing where if you have tempeh around and you have rice around and you have some vegetables, there's like
No
tons
problem, Kathy. Thanks for joining
recipes.
us.
with different sauces and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a versatile dish.
Yeah, I think Jennifer had the kimchi, so you could go a little bit more. You could do a peanut sauce
Oh, yeah.
for
Yeah,
the
pretty good.
and marinate the tempeh in a peanut sauce and have kimchi like, ooh, yummy.
Yeah.
Paul, do you work tomorrow?
Nope. I'm
Okay.
taking a 4-day weekend.
Good for you. I was going to save you some, but.
Hey,
Next time.
Emily. There's my coworker.
Oh, cool. Hello, people.
Awesome. Did you guys taste it yet?
Nice job, Tim.
Nice job, Kelly.
Okay.
Bye.
Well, you have to let me know how it is. Thanks, Suzanne. Always a pleasure.
See if anybody at the co-op is hungry. Make sure you guys.
Okay.
Back at you, Catherine. Awesome.
Fun.
Julia, how you doing? Julia, Patricia, did you guys finish?
I'm still working on mine. It looks great though. Thank you.
No problem. Do you need any help finishing, Julia?
No, I mean, I got into a little weird place where I mixed my dressing with my tempeh, and then when I was baking on my cooking sheet, it seemed like it was like maybe too much liquid. It's
Okay.
supposed to like evaporate or like be in there longer.
Sometimes it just sticks there on the bottom. Ours did a little bit too.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So if you sometimes like kind of when you're marinating meat too, it'll get like that. It'll just stick to the bottom. So when you bowl it out and it cools, sometimes you can just separate it from the marinade on the bottom. It probably won't all evaporate though.
Okay.
And does it, is there like a certain amount of time that you're supposed to marinate the tempeh before you put it in the oven?
If here we did it really fast. We did not really marinate it. We just tossed it in the dressing and put it in the oven. Ideally, you can marinate it for 30 minutes. You could marinate it in the morning before you go to work, or the night before if you're going to cook it in the morning, and then cook it that next day, and it's really going to absorb the flavors.
Okay.
So it depends on how much planning.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Patricia said, thank you so much. I like the idea of being able to change out things if I like something better. Great ideas. Thanks,
Yeah.
Patricia. Yeah, we always try to make it accessible to everyone and everyone's diet if we can. Catherine said, I did not realize we were really cooking for an army. She did say it though, LOL. But now you have leftovers.
Exactly.
Good, thank you.
Now you have breakfast.
Yeah, I would eat this for breakfast.
I would too.
This is hearty. Good savory breakfast.
Catherine said it tastes delicious and
You
she
could
can keep
probably
it 2
eat
days.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
You did
Yeah.
say we can keep it in the fridge for 2 days, right?
Right, yeah, I would say after 2 days, you'll just say you can check on it because the avocado.
Oh, right.
That's the only thing. It's really the avocado, but it should be good for 2 days.
Okay.
I think you
This
should
is
eat
a
it
lot
for
of
breakfast.
It
This
is a
is
lot.
so much. Oh my god!
Yeah.
I thought you were cooking for 2 people or something.
Yeah, I tend to overcook or cook for too many people, probably.
You want to make sure we do. You want to make sure we come to yoga next time.
Would love to have you.
And Patricia appreciated the low sodium. She said, thanks for cutting down on the salt in these recipes because she's on a low salt foods diet. So
Of course, a lot of people are for a lot of different reasons. So I agree, it makes sense. And it's hard to find recipes that really taste good.
and those that want it could just add it later.
Yeah, exactly. And you could even change out the soy sauce for a low sodium soy sauce too.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that'd be good.
It's turned out good.
Nice job, sir.
I'm guessing you've had this before, Tim.
Yeah, I've had it.
Awesome. It looks great.
Experimented.
Patricia wants to see your plate.
We should show that plate.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, Alan's plate.
Alex made a great plate.
Hola. Oh, I gotta change cameras.
No problem.
Ooh,
Oh, that's pretty. Nice.
delicious.
Yum. Oh yeah. It looks like a hearty combo with the rice and the not coleslaw. What is it?
Sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut. Thank you.
Sauerkraut, yeah.
Yeah,
Brain fart.
sounds delicious.
You sprinkling cranberries on there?
I am.
Nice.
Give it a shot.
Yeah. This would be really good. I love that somebody did quinoa. That would be really good too.
Yeah. I'll check in with Jennifer later and see how that went.
Yeah, Catherine. Yeah, absolutely. Some people will even double the dressing recipe and have extra. And then you could use it for other days or for other things.
Yeah.
Cranberries are really good on here.
Not too sweet.
Mm-mm.
Nice.
Are we signing off? Are we signing off?
I think we're
Yeah,
going
the
to.
last one here or something.
Patricia and Julia, are you guys okay if we sign off?
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Awesome.
Good
Thanks
night.
for joining us. Patricia?
Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
All
she
right,
said
bye.
goodbye. So we're good. Thank you so much, you guys. This was awesome.
Thanks,
Really
all.
exciting to have a more like vegan centered recipe again, because I think a couple people probably came tonight that haven't come in a while. So good job.
Excellent.
Oh, I should stop the recording.